Cubs Nation, buckle up because what I'm about to tell you will shake Wrigleyville to its core. The north side is buzzing with a combination of pure euphoria, nail-biting anxiety, and that familiar Cubs magic. We haven't felt this intensely in years. Right now, as we speak, there are three massive storylines unfolding that could define not just this season, but the entire future of our beloved franchise. First, we've got a young phenom who's absolutely destroying the National League. I'm talking about numbers that have scouts calling him the next coming of greatness, putting up MVP caliber stats that have even the most seasoned baseball analysts doing double takes. This kid is rewriting the record books and making plays that'll have you jumping off your couch screaming at the TV. But here's where it gets complicated. Cubs faithful. While this superstar is carrying us on his back, our pitching staff is hanging by a thread. We're talking about a rotation that's been decimated by injuries, forcing our front office into some serious soul-searching about what moves need to be made before the trade deadline. The question isn't if they'll make a move, but how big they're willing to go. And that brings us to the third bombshell that's got every Cubs fan's heart racing. There's whispers. No, there's serious talk about a potential blockbuster trade that could land us one of the most dominant aces in all of baseball. We're talking about a move so massive, it could instantly transform us from contenders to World Series favorites. If you're not already smashing that like button and hitting subscribe, you better do it now because what comes next is going to blow your mind. And, Cubs Nation, I need to hear from you in the comments. Are you ready for what this season might bring? The best record in the National League sits at 39-23, and it belongs to US. But the real story? It's just getting started. And trust me when I say the first revelation will have you believing in magic all over again. Cubs Nation, meet your new obsession. Pete "Crow" Armstrong is not just having a breakout season, he's having a legendary season that's got the entire baseball world taking notice. This 23-year-old five-tool phenom has turned Wrigley Field into his personal playground. And the numbers are absolutely insane. Let me paint you a picture of pure dominance. 16 home runs, 53 RBIs, slashing .275, 312 sim, 557. But those numbers barely scratch the surface of what PCA is doing out there. According to ESPN, this kid has accumulated 3.9 wins above replacement. And get this, Cubs faithful, he's trailing only Aaron Judge in that category. That's right, our center fielder is running neck and neck with the Yankees' monster slugger for the most valuable player in all of baseball. Bleacher Report didn't just notice, they went all in, dubbing Crow Armstrong as the National League MVP frontrunner through 60 games. And you know what? If you've been watching this kid play, it's not even a bold take anymore. It's just facts. This isn't the same player who struggled in 2024. This is a completely transformed athlete who's making highlight reel plays look routine. But here's what's got me absolutely fired up. PCA isn't just mashing at the plate, he's redefining what it means to be a complete player. Defensively, he's tracking down balls that have no business being caught, robbing opposing hitters of extra bases and momentum. On the base paths, he's a blur, on pace for 42 home runs and 55 stolen bases, numbers that would make him just the seventh player in MLB history to reach 40-50. The Gold Glove is practically his already, and whispers of a platinum glove are getting louder by the day. When's the last time a Cubs player dominated every aspect of the game like this? We're talking about a potential MVP award coming back to Chicago for the first time since Chris Bryant took it home in 2016. Sure, Shohei Ohtani is still the betting favorite for his fourth MVP, but Cubs Nation, momentum is a powerful thing in baseball. And right now, all the momentum belongs to our guy. But while PCA is carrying us to the best record in the National League, there's a storm brewing in our rotation that could derail everything we're building. Cubs faithful, while we're celebrating PCA's dominance, we need to talk about the elephant in the room. Our starting rotation is in crisis mode, and Jed Hoyer knows he's got some serious decisions to make before the trade deadline hits us like a freight train. Here's the brutal reality. Our starters are posting a 3.93 ERA, putting us in the bottom half of the league, and that's with some guys overperforming beyond expectations. We lost Justin Steele to season-ending elbow surgery. Our dependable lefty who was supposed to anchor this rotation is done for the year. Then Shota Imanaga, our ace import from Japan, hits the injured list just when we needed him most. Ben Brown and Matthew Boyd are fighting tooth and nail to fill the void, and God bless them for stepping up. But Cubs Nation, we need more firepower if we're serious about making a championship run. The whispers around Wrigleyville are getting louder. The front office is actively hunting for starting pitching, and one name keeps surfacing: Mitch Keller from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now hold on, I know what you're thinking. The Pirates? Our division rivals? But hear me out, because this could be genius. Keller's numbers might not jump off the page at first glance with that 4.13 ERA in 13 starts, but dig deeper, and you'll find a pitcher who's been incredibly unlucky. His 3.24 FIP tells the real story. This guy is better than his surface stats suggest, and he's allowed 3 runs or fewer in 10 of his 13 appearances. Here's what makes this even more intriguing. Keller is locked up through 2028 on a 5-year, $77 million deal. He was an all-star in 2023, he's durable as they come, and he knows how to pitch in the National League Central. The question isn't whether he'd help us, it's whether Pittsburgh would even consider trading him to a division rival. The skeptics say it won't happen, that it would take a massive package from our end to even get Pittsburgh to pick up the phone. But Cubs Nation, sometimes you've got to be willing to make the bold move when your window is wide open. With Imanaga eventually returning to give us our ace back, imagine a rotation featuring both of them anchoring our playoff push. But what if I told you there's an even bigger fish swimming in trade deadline waters, one that could transform our entire championship outlook in ways that would make even the most optimistic Cubs fans' jaw drop? Cubs Nation, this is it, the moment that could define our entire franchise's future. While we're debating smaller moves like Keller, Jed Hoyer and the front office are reportedly eyeing the ultimate prize at the trade deadline: Framber Valdez from the Houston Astros. Let me tell you why this potential blockbuster has every Cubs fan's heart racing. Valdez isn't just any pitcher. He's a bona fide ace who's been absolutely dominant this season. After a rocky start, this left-handed maestro has completely turned things around, posting a 3.07 ERA while leading the entire major leagues with 85 innings pitched. Over his last 5 starts, try a ridiculous 1.95 ERA and 0.89 WHIP that's had opposing hitters looking completely lost. Here's the beautiful irony, Cubs faithful. The Astros almost traded Valdez during the offseason when they dealt Kyle Tucker, making it seem like Houston was ready to rebuild. Instead, they held on to him, and now his trade value is skyrocketing with every dominant performance. But here's the kicker. He's a pending free agent, which means if Houston falters and falls out of contention, they'll have no choice but to deal him, rather than lose him for nothing. The Cubs might be one of the only teams with the prospect capital to pull off a deal this massive. We're talking about potentially trading away premium prospects, maybe even 2 of them. But Cubs Nation, when was the last time our championship window was this wide open? PCA is having an MVP season. Our offense has been the best in baseball for most of the year, and we're sitting pretty with the best record in the National League. Imagine Valdez anchoring our rotation alongside a healthy Imanaga. That's a 1-2 punch that could carry us through the gauntlet. That is the National League playoffs. This isn't just about making the postseason anymore. This is about positioning ourselves to win it all. The clock is ticking, and every Cubs fan needs to be watching Houston's record like a hawk. If the Astros keep winning and stay atop the AL West, this becomes a pipe dream. But if they stumble, Valdez could become available, and Hoyer better be ready to make the call that brings a championship back to Chicago. Cubs Nation, we're living in a moment that could be remembered forever. PCA's MVP campaign, a rotation that needs reinforcement, and the potential for a trade that changes everything. Hit that like button, subscribe for more Cubs coverage, and tell me in the comments, are you ready to trade the future for a championship right now? Because with this team, with this magic we're feeling at Wrigley, might this finally be our year again?